Hello D&Ders, RPGers, Game Masters, Space Masters, and the like. This is my last video on my series about White Star, until maybe I can talk my son into doing a couple battles with me, and I can show you how the things run. But for right now, I'm just going to go over all the resources I have available for you on my SciFi webpage, right? So to take you through this whole thing, if you went back here to my D&D page, which is nothing more than, let me just back up a smidge. Everybody should know how to get there by now. I've been plugging this like you wouldn't believe. drduick.com. I'm a teacher. I teach chemistry and physics, a little bit of philosophy, astronomy, all the good things in life. You click on the icosahedron and you get my Duick's dungeon page. You come down here to the SciFi, which is the cool robot that seems to like to whisper at you, then move away out of the way. I like this. Here's a link to Roll20 if you want it. Right here is my science fiction RPG. So I kind of put this together as a way of kind of documenting all the stuff I'm doing in case I have a new player join and wants to figure out what's going on. I send them here and they can click videos and see how things work, and it should make sense. I'm going to go over a couple of the resources that is available. Right under White Star, I'm going to hit the first thing that says roll. Okay, this is a fun thing that you can do if you are like me and if you're playing online because there's a lockdown or quarantine. Instead of, this is the quickest way to get a roll. There, a roll of 3, right? And I can add or subtract. 6-sided, and obviously you can add dice. This is if you're playing like White Star, you use 6-sided dices, right? So if I had to roll twice for 46, I hit this twice. 5 and 17 and 2 is 12. I do all my rolls above the field for my players to see. I don't hide my rolls. I do that on purpose because I show that I'm honest. I'm not showing favoritism. Obviously, you have D8s, D4, D12, and obviously a D10 for anything you want to do. And if you want the sound effects, then you could do that if you want to hear it roll. So you can sit there and say, I'm going to roll D20. That makes everybody turn around and look, right? So you can have fun with this all you want, right? Moving down a little bit, here's sound effects. All right, so if someone makes an awesome roll and they hit a 20, I give them a splash. Nice, right? So that sounds cool. And obviously my Star Knights can only use a lightsaber, or how would you say, a star sword, and a crossbow if they had to do their work. All right, so they use an archaic weapon such as an arrow or a crossbow, and they can use their lightsaber. Of course, if you need an explosion, one is made available. All these things down here are just sound effects and things. A monster growl, and it's just a 5-second clip and it's gone, and it can play while you're doing the music, or an alien voice if you needed one to freak your kids out a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. That's good for the children. Here's a klaxon, but it's really annoying because it goes back and forth if you're wearing headphones. That's why it's only 9 seconds long. If it's longer than that, you probably get a migraine and fall on the floor. I like this. I'm gonna pause the background music for 1 second. This is right now I'm playing Space with Voice. It sounds like there's like a satellite flying overhead and it's picking up recordings. I kind of like it because you heard that a lot in the Star Wars and stuff. I just thought it was neat. So I'm gonna pause this, and I'm just going to play for 1 second. This is the Sotros. Right. That's the creepy background music for Aliens, or Alien, right? Here's the thing. One of my favorite horror movies of all time. I think this is my favorite horror movie. This is such a beautiful soundtrack. So I think you can find the whole thing online, but I just took out the part I liked and put it in here. So if we're in the middle of a battle, I like to put that in there. God, it sounds really intense, doesn't it? It just has a certain unease to it. So simple, yet so, how would you say, drastically annoying. Because it has that big throb of a bass underneath of it. It's good for the kids. Good for the kids. They got to be put underneath a certain level of strain at any game. There you go. That's right. Nothing's better than, how would you say, pushing people to the point where they think something bad's going to happen. That's the goal, right? So I'm going to go ahead and back out a little bit just to kind of let you know. Once again, when you're doing these kind of things, you're playing a game, you're trying to immerse things. I know the computer is not the best way to do anything because the sheer fact that getting together with your friends, having a spread on the table, and we used to do this. It's almost like having the Super Bowl every other Sunday with a group of friends. Maybe I'm just kind of nerdy. I find the nerdiest people that like to be nerds, and we all nerd out together with some. My friend Kristen brings some buffalo chicken dip that will make your head spin, and my wife's out there making all chocolate cakes or whatever the hell. I mean, it's just such a big thing. We have so much fun and all, boutique beers and stuff. Because what's funny about RPG games as opposed to anything, you want to hang out with people. You want to say, hey, let's invite some friends over, right? And so if you're going to play cards, that's one thing, right? So that's great. You play card, I don't know. It seems like kind of a pointless thing. Once you start playing an RPG game where you're moving together as a cooperative group towards a target to come to a solution, everything else seems to fail a little bit. Monopoly, great. You take over the block or whatever it is, and you got all the money. But when you're working together towards a problem, it's like so much more satisfying, and it builds deeper relationships. And I think that's the reason why there's a big surge with role-playing games now more than ever before. When I grew up in the 80s, it was looked down upon, but now it's like everybody starts to embrace it, which is really, I'm glad it's due. It's due for people to feel that camaraderie, I guess, especially in the manner of play, because life can get very serious and very daunting. Let's go back to what we have to look at, right? So, roles, I mentioned this in my other videos. I like to use this thing. You find yourself a room and you set it up, and then you have other people play. It's my quick link to get there, so my players know where to go. All right, and this is nice. This is called Dice Logs. I like this one if I'm going to say, okay, everybody, we're going to do, let's do 3d6, all right? And we're going to do, everyone's going to roll characters. We're all going to use the same dice. If you want to do that, because that's sort of fun, everyone, whatever they are is whatever we're using. This is what we have, and we go for it, right? And you can move any one of your stats to a lower stat becomes an 18 or something like that. You can have a whole lot of fun because I think it shows you what the dice look like. Visually, it's just so much more compelling. I like it. I don't know who Hamid is or whatever this person's name is. I just think it's cool when someone does something, and that's kind of why I put it out there. This is free, mine's free, because I think the idea is to have everyone enjoy life. That's kind of where I'm at with this. So something to take into consideration, right? So let's take a look here. Skill checks. Now, I went into this whole thing about how to do skill checks. You come down here, you can look at the probabilities because I'm into numbers. I think they're fun, right? For the average person, they might not be. But since I'm a math science kind of guy, I find that fun. This goes into the white star. The rules is written, which is RAWs, right? All the way down to how I changed it based on the Roll20 sheet. And I explain this in the videos. If you want to see the videos are right here. So skill checks 1 and skill check 2, right? So you can take a look at this. This is for rules as written, and this is what I do to add to it based on the character sheet. All right, ship stats. This is a great tool if you're playing and you want to have your players take a look at the stats. You could say, oh, you scan the ship, you find it's a late transport. They want to know what the information is, and they don't have the book with them, or they want to scan through the PDF to find it. They just click on the thing, and there's the information for light transport. This really does facilitate the game moving quite quickly. So you wouldn't think, but looking up the PDF to find out what a light transport, even for the game master, it slows the game. If I just look up land transport, I click it, there's my stuff, I can start playing, right? Makes it fun. That's how I see it, right? It's all about having it fun. If you wanted to take a look at what one looks like, you click that button. Here's a light transport, just a bunch of cargo stuff, a little area for the cockpit area for flying it, and it gives you an idea what. I found these things that I think there are free images online that do all this stuff, and so they're beautiful looking, and they're nice to put up there so people can see, get an idea what a thing would look like. And if you needed a map, okay, well you're here, you're here, you're here. The cool thing about a sci-fi version of D&D is they can make a scan. If they beat a DC 10, if there's no shielding on the ship, you can see the entire layout of the contents of the ship. I do that. It gives the players a chance to actually think about how they would want to approach it or enter it or do whatever. Just more fun. It's all about having fun, right, kids? So that's good. So let's look at this. Spaceflight. Pardon me, I'm sorry. Here's all the information for spaceflight. How I kind of came up with what I came up with based on, like I said, it's a series of work. I've been playing this for a while. I try to come up with a way that sort of makes sense and what's usable. It's about usable in the actual gaming scenario, okay? And then obviously Spaceship Battle. If you click this, I talk about Spaceship Battle, right? And I still didn't put the link up. I need to put the link up, but this is where you can make decisions about who does what. So once again, the link will be right here. I don't know why. I didn't put the link here for this one. I'll put the one up. I'm sorry, missing it, but it will be there. So I tell you when I review something and see how I did it. That's it. Here's Spaceship Planet Hex Battles. All right. This is from obviously the White Box book, right? Or I'm sorry, White Star book. It's the companion guide. It explains the format for play. Now, like I said, there's a lot of different ways to do it. Someone actually, in looking at my stuff online, I think it was MB, we mentioned something that it reminded them of Traveler, which is cool. I never actually played Traveler. Would have loved to have played it. It's based on 2D6 stuff. And like I said, sometimes you're just used to a D20 because that's what you grew up on, right? So here's the other parts of the stuff that I'd like to show you. Here's this space Hex Grid. That you punch that up, and you have, if you want to see where you're going, you can show this to your group. And what's cool is this right here, 0805 tells you the nebula. Every time you refresh it, those numbers change. So you can, or you can just leave out the nebula thing. You don't like to do Nebula Battle. If you click that, it takes you into the Nebula Battle, right? Total matter of choice. It's whatever works for you, okay? There's a space. This is if you're over a planet. I changed the hex once again. So keep in mind, if you were to look at the other video, as you go this way and go off, right? So once you go this way, you come back off on the other side going this way. And the idea is to try to get to the other end before they basically kill you or, board you because you're immobilized. So if you go back and watch how that works, it's actually kind of fascinating. It's fun. It's fun play. Last video I did was about the Nebula Battle. Here's the rules below it, and this one's very, very in your head imagination. I got this image I have that's moving in the background to kind of give you an idea that you're not moving as much as the universe is moving around you at that point, right? If you like to play, like I did this the other day, I was practicing this, my concept that my wife is my trial subject. She likes to give it a whirl. I pulled out this sheet. I turned on, you're starting here. I'm starting down here. I explained the rules. We played the rules. I showed it online. She helped me modify it, which was sort of fun. This is like if you don't want to print out a picture that's all black and use all the ink out of your printer. I don't know where I found this. This is called Spica Publishing Subsector. No. I don't know. I guess I don't know where it came from, but it was like I said. This makes the game a little easier if you want to do it pen and pen. If you can actually play with a group, we're out of quarantine. You get to play with people. You can still put this down, and you move the sheet paper back and forth. And believe me, if you keep it hidden and reveal at the same time. Remember, plan, reveal, and then roll. You have a lot of fun with that. Okay. And these are print out once again. I printed these out. These guys are printed out on black and white, so you don't burn your ink out on your printer trying to put this out if you wanted to play it. Okay. So I have gave a little intro and overview on the Kelron sector for those that were interested in that. I talked about the mythos behind it, or all the information behind it. It's all these things. It's something, if you're going to play White Star and you want your groups to have some kind of bearing on why you're doing it or what the motivation is, and you want to give yourself more history on it, my advice is you can look at what I have, add to it, subtract from it. It doesn't really matter because it's your game, right? That's why I like OSR stuff. You're not obligated to anything. This right here, I'll be honest with you, these are all password protected because I trust my players, but I just did this because I have a spot called DM. So when you click on something like this, you're not necessarily going to be able to get into it. It's going to give you this, and you have to the code to get in. So you're probably not going to get into any of these things. I'm just letting you know. But this right here is kind of interesting because even when I'm up in the Klaxon Rift, like every one of these guys leads to a how would you say? They would get the image. They don't really know what's going on, so they would. This is a player's map. This is what it looked like. Okay, let's do this. So this is the player's map. It would look like they would sit there and say, well, we're going to approach this ship. I made the concept of a Klaxon rift. It's not a nebula. It's just there's this rift in space and time. And what it does is it immobilizes ships indiscriminately. And they could be there for months, weeks, we don't know. And it's not, if you're looking for someone or something, and they said the last time they had to pass by the Klaxon rift. And I have the players come over and they try to find out which ship it might be. I labeled them so they can go to it, and some may have dead bodies in it. Some may have people just sitting around waiting for someone to rescue them. It makes the game a little kind of mysterious. We don't know what the riff is or how it happened. And all I did was put this in Photoshop and use spray paint and put some crap over here. It was kind of fun. So, something to do, something to have fun with, right? Like I say, this obviously if you hit this thing, it goes into a map. And once again, I have the pop-out screens that gives me, the pictures I'm going to be showing the crowd as they board the ship. They wouldn't see this. I wouldn't show them that. I'd just show them the ship as they go through it, right? So keep in mind, these are actually all the ships are linked up here too, in case I just want to go straight to the ship because we had to stop partway through. These are all my stuff, and I tell you what, this is the best part about something like this. If I needed an image of something, and I wanted to show them a picture of something, let's say a dune stalker. All right, it's because you say you land on a sandy planet. I want this. I would actually use a snip tool, take this out, and then drop it on the screen, or put it up there. They can look at it, dune stalker, but they don't know the stats of that thing, because that's how that works. So this was I did this I think a few years ago just because I wanted to. You never know. I mean, I might have this thing so you can get to them all. Someone was saying I'm probably violating copyright law by putting them online. I don't know how. You can find the PDFs online, whatever. So all these things have been loaded up there. These are from Swords and Wizardry. We had the Monstrosities, Tomb Horrors Complete, Tomb Horrors 4, and this is a nice PDF file, and I'm going to see what I can do about violating any rules. Here's the core rule book for White Star. Once again, you have to go to DriveThruRPG to get it, and it's pay what you will. Companion book, same thing. I do have videos explaining what, just not the whole book, just parts of it, right? Here's a class overview page, and this is my standard classes. I just did those 4. Those are the ones in the original book. These are pretty much the ones that people use unless they want to find something else. I have this available. They have them all in here. Actually, I did put them all in here. That's right, put them all up so you can pick anything you want. That's awesome. Okay, I think it's because somebody in the group wanted to be a deep space explorer or two-fisted technician or something like that. I mean, I get it. I get people like options. It's kind of fun to do it that way. I'm gonna close a couple of these windows. I have too many things open right now. It's gonna drive me crazy. There you go. Nice. All right. Okay, cool. So, and this is my gaming note card. So if we play live, I don't really use a game. I let them use this and do a little research. I tell people when they upgrade, they get better stuff. I like the note cards. I can stack them all together and put a rubber band around them, and they tend not to get all wrinkled, torn up, messed up, lost, or whatever it is. And people like to just sit on the couch and kind of play. It makes it a little fun. I changed the scoring here a little bit on these, but that's just me, like I said. Once more, it's more a situation where you can always do what you like. Here's a blank character sheet if you want to see the one that James Bond came up with. If this works for you, that's great. And obviously you got like ammo ticks here, which some people would love, right? And you can click on what level you are. So why make the note card? Well, I like note cards. I'm gonna do it, right? And then you got the basic sheets right here. The cool thing about these sheets is they do have the information here. If people are well versed in what they're doing, they don't need this, but if they're just learning to play, you would want this here. Oh, what can I do as a pilot? Well, you have all this stuff going on, which is kind of cool, right? Obviously, the mercenary has its stuff, which is pretty nice, and so on. Aristocrat, Star Knight, Robot, Alien Mystic, and Alien Brute. I haven't talked much about this, Stars Without Number, because it's not a game I'm totally playing right now. I think this is the book. And this is first edition book. I have the omnibus too for Stars Without Number. It's huge. Kevin Crawford, he did a great job with this thing. It's well written, but it's a monstrous book, right? And not as much this one as the other one I have is like fantastically huge. I liked it a lot. Like I said, it's a shame my players did not. It was just too much, I guess. I talked about character creation with Stars Without Number, and these are actually Java rollover things. And this is where I kind of took the +2 from. They go only on an 18, you got +2. I said 17, 18. It's so hard to roll 17. If you roll one good, glory be, so you got +2, right? So, looking through here, obviously you get all the different skills. I really should do one of these videos on Stars Without Number. And the thing about it is I actually kind of show you, it's not something I'm playing, so therefore I'm not putting a lot into it, but like here's this, you can see what's going to go on. I have these things highlighted where the bonuses will be added to which part of the sheet. This is the first edition. I don't even know if I'm sure people are still playing first edition, but this is it highlights where each one would work, God, I put a lot of time into this, and I don't. It's kind of. And then I gave an example. Wow, it's just so nerdy. What is wrong with me? Anyways, what's fun? Oh, wow, did I go crazy? I forgot I did all this. I did this. Boy, I tell you what, it's not like I didn't try. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, I say in my groups, it just kind of, it wasn't their thing. And I understand. You have to go with what your group. I mean, you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do because they're spending time with you for fun, right? Obviously, I did this thing. I kind of showed a little bit of this in one of my other videos. And it's all about, this is according to the second edition or the revised edition of Stars Without Number. And I took it and I lifted it and used it to try to describe to my players and gave an example. But once again, they kind of got, we got day jobs. You can't spend that much time looking at this stuff. Anyway, these are actually first edition sheets you can print out to play. Once again, it's fun for doing any of this stuff. Expert, warrior, psychic. And here's the skills sheets. So I even made it so you could have the skill sheets for those that are going to be the psychic class. And I have them all out there, and I would put their thing together. I have a binders. I gave them binders of stuff, and it just wasn't their thing. And this was kind of a fun thing. This is this overview of different ships. It was just a thumbnail thing. So you pop that thing, and it comes out at you. It's kind of cool, right? Check that out. And this is people I was playing with. You know, I had given these guys names and showed them their stats and went into the play. Lots of fun, I guess, for me. I tried to explain what sector they were on. Yeah, Stars Without Numbers. Excuse my nerddom. This is super nerdy, right? So then now we're going to go into Other Dusts. Other Dust was... This is the book. God, I started such a dark concept, and I'll show you this because I'm probably never going to come back to it. But Other Dust is like post-apocalyptic stuff. Okay, so Other Dust is fascinating. Here's the book. You want to go back and you want to read it. I think you can find it online for free. That's why it's up there. And I came up with the concept of Glenhaven, which actually is around where I live, right? And tried to explain the situation. In here, I gave the whole history of what has happened. And I live out in what is Delmarva Peninsula down here in an area called Salisbury. And I found a little hex map to put this up. Okay, here I am stoking and trying to get things going. Kind of explained different attributes, and then we went to character creation, and they made their things, decided what they want, and then I gave some kind of history. This is after the Scream. So the Scream, this is interesting, Stars With Number. Scream is actually linked to Stars With Number as well as into Other Dust. And this is before like things happen. I mean, you have to read the history. It's just great mythology just to begin with. It's so awesome. And I explain what happens when it's such a great thing. There's this Scream, right? It's like starvation waters are all to decimate the world's cities. You know, this is really dark and apocalyptic. The Melrose was protected by wind patterns from much of the radiation, so we're in a good spot over here in Delmarva. So then we have something called the influx of the change, which are ones who were like kind of messed up because of radiation, are trying to climb into Delmarva, so we blow up the Bay Bridge. That's the Bay Bridge. Stop that. And then unify to keep the changed out and set up fences. This is such a dark thing. Yeah, obviously I spend too much time, like, you know, coming up with ideas, and there's a 142-year war, so everything's fire. And this is one of my friends, is Dr. Davis. He came up with a how would you say, a vaccine against the high shine, and you got to kind of read this thing. This is so fun. I don't know where I came up with this stuff. Anyways, at the end, as you can see, there's actually only one person left. I took my neighborhood here and actually fenced this whole thing in with the high fence, and these are outpost things all the way around it. And I tried to make it very lifelike, how would you say, for one time. And these are the outpost posts, and had this playing. And I think the thing is, maybe the group I had wasn't that much into it. They had to go to an Army National Guard place because there was a hidden bunker that no one ever knew about. That's what they got word of. And this was a seer that told them that, so they had to go there. And sure enough, they go there, and then all of a sudden, you know, they're in a state of war. I love it. Then they go into the underground bunker area. The cool thing is they can scan so I can show the whole thing, and this is what makes it fun compared to or say different than D&D's. I want to scan you can scan it. You got a map, and you can start telling me where you're going to go. Do I scan for life forms? Stuff like that makes it really interesting. So this pretty much covers what I have available, right? Oh, there's one last thing. Brightside Station. This is out of Stars Without Number. Once again, this is the big thing that we kind of went through, sort of fun. These are pop-outs. You click that, it pops out, so I can control it with a dual screen, what people see at any one time. So if you hook up another screen to your laptop or whatever like that, and then you can project what you want onto a different screen, you could hook up Zoom that only shows that one screen, which makes it sort of fun. Right? Well, it's been a long talk. I just kind of went through a whole bunch of what I saw out here and kind of put it together. Hopefully you found it a little interesting. I can put my NPCs out here. He's a misogynistic pig, which is sort of fun to play that character. But like anything, I appreciate your time, and what I want you to do is just kind of consider the fact that when gaming, you can pull from a bunch of different resources to come up with what you want best. I know some people don't like to do that. I played with one person in a group. I found them I said, wow, a bunch of vampires are falling down on you inside of, I guess it was the tower and Curse of Strahd. Everybody make a dexterity roll, and I don't know, they're saying, well, where are you going? Don't ruin it. Here, I'm just showing you all the stuff I've done, and I even show you other stuff on my other pages, but as a game master, show them some respect for the amount of effort they're going to put into making a story for you. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff you have no idea. They're trying to make a fun adventure, and their fun is by you having fun. That's how they get all their fun. It's such people don't really realize that. I make a world, and the best part of it, in my mind, I think I know how it's going to play out. I think I know what's going to happen. And then when 4 other people get into the room and start playing it, I find out how wrong I am. And it makes it so interesting. It makes me think on my feet, keeps my brain sharp. So when you're playing, just keep in mind, really respect the Dungeon Master. They are going to make mistakes. They are always going to do something. You say, well, that's not fair. Don't get all pouty and stuff. Just if you really think if it was something really, really bothered, they'll make way more calls in your favor than they'll make calls that are not in your favor, because they want the heroes to succeed, because it makes there's no fun in you guys dying in the first room. They want to see you go to the end, right? So with that, this was an extremely long video, and I appreciate your time looking at it, and this is my end of going over White Star, unless I do an adventure piece and I'll put it up there, right? So I'm signing out now. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.